Last night I stayed in some flea bag hotel which doubled as a brothel. G'day and welcome to another Mongrel production, and welcome to the old abandoned Cowling Tunnel in Taiwan. The plan for this trip is to spend 3 or 4 weeks cycling around Taiwan, about 1,000 kilometres. Most riders do it in 10 or 12 days, but I've got no interest in doing it that quick. Anyway, grab your gear, let's go. I've only been in country long enough to assemble the bike and I'm already in the shit. Bikes aren't allowed inside the airport property, so I've got to get a shuttle bus to take me outside the wire before I can start the ride. Well, I arrived yesterday, assembled the bike and the trailer at the airport, but I had to catch a shuttle bus to get out of the airport area because I'm not allowed bikes within the confines of the airport. Found my accommodation okay. Today is all about just, I don't know, local orientation and just having a look, exploring the local area, and I'll head off on the journey tomorrow. Well, I left the city this morning, been on the road for a few hours. I've covered 35 kilometres. I'm not trying to break any records on this trip, but these are the signs that I'm trying to follow. I picked this one up accidentally, but yeah, there's a national route and I'll try and stick to that route where I can. Well, up until now I've been following their national cycling route, route number 1. This is day 3 for me. Up until now it's been all industry and lots of traffic, and I knew that on the western coastline it was going to be like that. But from here I deviate off their national cycling route. I'm going to make my way towards Sun Moon Lake, which is inland, and I'll spend a couple of days there. So I don't know, I've got about 15 kilometres to go today. Finding accommodation hasn't been straightforward. I don't want to pre-book anything on one of those booking sites because then I'll lose flexibility, but finding a place to stay later on in the day has proved to be a little bit awkward. Last night I stayed in some flea bag hotel which doubled as a brothel. Yeah, today hopefully I'll have more luck. Well, that's made for an interesting morning. Rightly or wrongly, I was on one of their major roads and I knew I shouldn't have been there, but I just wanted to get to Sun Moon Lake as quick as possible on the best stretch of road, which was one of the major arterial roads. Anyway, I got busted by the cops, which didn't surprise me, and they organised a council vehicle to take me to the local town where there are more suitable roads for a cyclist. I feel bad because it involved 2 cars, 4 cops and some council blokes, so yeah, maybe next time I'll reconsider my choices. Well, there's the expressway that I was on. I should explain that the climb to Sun Moon Lake, it's 800 metres above sea level, so I was just trying to use the path of least resistance. Yeah, anyway, I'm sure most of you would understand. Well, there's the lake. I've never been so happy to see an inland body of water before. The last 10 kilometres have been a real ball breaker. Having said that, because of their use of tunnels here, I didn't experience any switchbacks like I expected, going into and out of valleys. So that made the going a bit easier. But nonetheless, yeah, it's been a hard grind, certainly the last 10 kilometres at least. I'm here for 2 nights. I'll spend tomorrow just going around the lake. Apparently it's about a 36 kilometre bike path around the lake, so that's how I'll spend tomorrow, relaxing. Well, I'm riding around the lake. It's, I don't know, 35 or 36 kilometres, and they talk about a bikeway going around the whole thing, and I assumed, rightly or wrongly, that it was relatively flat. This is nothing like being flat. I've been in country for a week now, and I've only covered less than 300 kilometres so far, although that's going to change today. Today I've got to do 100 kilometres, but the beauty is it's all downhill. I go down from 800 metres above sea level down to pretty much sea level, so 100 kilometres all downhill. Yeah, I had yesterday off, so to speak. Feel a lot better for it. But yeah, perfect riding conditions. The weather has been kind to me so far. Well, it's only been a week. It tried to rain one day but didn't. And today is absolutely perfect. Low temperatures, no humidity, well, nothing to speak of. So ideal riding conditions certainly today. Well, today's only going to be a short day. I'm currently on my way to a ferry terminal. There's a coral island off the coast, and I'll stay there for a couple of nights. To be honest, I've not enjoyed the last few days at all. It's just so much heavy industry and heavy volumes of traffic and so many red lights that it's a case of Groundhog Day, just rinse and repeat. So yeah, I'm looking forward to getting to the island. The only thing is, of course, it's tomorrow is Chinese New Year, so I expect the island will be quite busy. I know the prices for accommodation have skyrocketed in the last 48 hours, so but it might provide some respite, because at the moment I just don't feel them alive, it's the morning I'm supposed to leave the island. It's pouring down with rain, and it's going to be like this for a few hours, so I might take the advantage of the late checkouts here in Taiwan and give it a few hours in the hope that it clears up. I don't have far to go today, thankfully, so even if I left by noon it'll be alright. Well, today I'm taking the sensible option and catching a bus to cross the island. I say sensible, it's a steep climb, very, very steep and very, very long, and I probably could ride it, but I probably wouldn't enjoy it, so I'll take the sensible option in my case. I was going to take the train, but apparently they've suspended bikes on trains along that section for some reason. It's only temporary, but yeah, the bus is certainly a viable option. So yeah, by this afternoon I'll be on the east coast and feeling a lot better for it, I'm sure. It's exciting. Well, I've been looking forward so much to this part of the trip. I'm on the east coast, and the road runs very, very close to the coast. In fact, on the ocean. And bugging me dead, it's raining on the morning I set out, and it looks like it's going to stay raining all day. A drizzle. So I've got the shower cap on, got the poncho on. Might as well get it underway. Well, the rain has eased, hopefully at least for a while. The view's got clearer. Geez, there's some traffic snarls here. I think today must be the last day of the official New Year's holiday, because there's traffic banked up for miles. I think it must be heading back towards Taipei. Thankfully I'm going in the opposite direction, but yeah, lots of heavy traffic. I stopped by a copper at an intersection who sort of waved me down, and of course neither of us could understand each other. Anyway, after a couple of minutes he waved me on through. Well, I'm currently still on their national cycling route, yeah, cycling route number 1. I'm on highway number 9, currently going through what they call the East Rift Valley. It's a valley that is in between two mountain ranges. I'm several kilometres away from the coast now, and it'll probably take me about 3 days, I guess, to go through this valley. The traffic's a bit quieter, thankfully, and yeah, today it's dry. Hasn't started raining yet. Hopefully I'll get through the day without getting a wet arse. Well, I'm still in the East Rift Valley, I've got off their main cycling route number 1. I'm now on a minor road, route number 193. Certainly the traffic volumes have reduced. It's dry still, again today, second day in a row, although it's pretty cold. It's down to about 14 degrees Celsius. So being a boy from Oz, I'm not used to that. It's a pretty eerie feeling. It's a weekday, it's a Friday, and I've taken route 193, which I guess now is a back road. It was probably a major highway once upon a time, but since they've built flatter, straighter, quicker roads, everybody's chosen to use those, which that works for me. Well, this is going to be my third and last day riding through the East Rift Valley. I'm heading for Hawlian, which I think is that metropolis down there. It's already bringing me down. I think that's a power station there, so straight away it's yeah, straight back into the heavy industry and infrastructure. Not looking forward to that part of it. Well, yesterday was all about having a look at the Taroko National Park. I spent a few hours just checking out some of the scenery and the landscape in there. Today I'll be catching a train for the next 100-kilometre stretch. Everything I've read and seen indicates that that's a dangerous stretch of highway. Narrow, windy, steep, subject to avalanches occasionally, and because of the volume of the heavy traffic and the narrow roads, they reckon it's fairly dangerous for cyclists. So I'll take the sensible option, and I'll be there later today, of course. Well, I've got to get off at the next stop. I think this was a wise decision. You can see where the road has been cut into the side of the mountain in a lot of places. So yeah, it would have been fairly treacherous, I think. Well, this is not what I expected. I knew I had to go through a tunnel, but this is an old rail tunnel that they've now converted as a bike path as part of their cycling route around the island. So, yeah, certainly not what I expected. 2 kilometres long. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to this. Well, today will be my last day in the saddle. I've got 70 kilometres to do. I'm going to cut the holiday. I'm going to cut the trip a few days short. It's rained every day for the last few days, and I saw no sense in following the coastline for another few days because it just wasn't going to be enjoyable. So I'll cut my losses. I leave for Australia tomorrow. My thoughts, look, I'm a little bit out to lunch, and it's probably my fault. There's not a lot on the west coast. If I had my time over again, there's 2 international airports here in Taiwan. One's in Kaohsiung, or whatever you pronounce it, in the south, and the other one is in just outside of Taipei. If I had my time over again, I'd arrive at the one in the south, do the east coast, because that was nice enough, and then fly out of Taipei, because there's not a lot on the west coast. Not a lot. No attraction to a cyclist anyway. Just one last thing before I go. Typically, a few hours ago it was raining. Now sun's out, sky's clear. It's the story of my life. But anyway, there's a national cycling route that goes around the island, but don't get that confused with a cycling track or a path. Quite often you're sharing the road with heavy vehicles, buses, trucks. You might have your own lane, but you're still not separated from the traffic. So I guess that's the biggest concern I had. Just because there's a national route doesn't mean you've got your own lane or your own path. I mean, at the moment I've got my own bike path, and but it's not always been as good as this. So after all that's said and done, I guess I'll see you on the other side.